that notice. All right, so I'll say it one more time. We have our three non-Democratic Party candidates with us, the Republican Party candidate, Celiana Gunderson, and the two independent candidates, Mr. Mason Butler and Mr. Roy Bird. So to start us off, Celiana, I do see you on here. Let you go ahead and come off mute. So a reminder for our candidates, and for the viewers here, we provided each candidate with the same questions that we provided the other candidates at our other sessions. And so for the candidates, we sent those questions out. Please go ahead and address the questions as you would like within the time frame that we've provided, which I believe is 5 minutes. We'll be timing your remarks and providing you, at the stop point when the 5 minutes has occurred. So I'm sure at this point you're skilled at speaking within certain periods of time. So without further ado, I'll let Ms. Ciliana go ahead and start us off.
Okay, good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. This meeting has a special place in my heart because I'm not part of Delray. I'm right in Warwick Village, but I spend much of my time in Delray. My kids have gone to school on the Avenue. I've worked on the Avenue. It's my go-to place, and Delray is the reason I moved to Alexandria over 10 years ago. So I am a single mother. I have two children, and it was just the perfect place for me to move to. And like I said, I've worked here in this neighborhood in some of the restaurants down on Del Rey. You may know me from there. And I've volunteered as well. I've worked in our school system. So I also know many of your children. So would you like me to answer the questions? Do you want to ask the questions? Do you want to hear more about me?
Just go ahead and answer the questions that you think we would like to hear about. We just provide an assortment of questions, so just go on ahead.
Okay, all right. So one of the questions was, if you're elected, what are your priorities, goals while in office? And addressing crime and supporting police, reducing taxes by scrubbing the budget, which will also reduce housing costs because taxes are a part of housing expense. Making common sense road safety modifications by avoiding the road diets like the ones that have resulted in serious accidents on a previously safe seminary road. What role do I see City Council playing in its interactions with the school board? I mean, obviously, setting the budget amount to be provided to the school system, but perhaps limit spending areas that need to be cut. Um, let's see. You asked about the revenue in the budget. What is the highest property tax rate I would consider appropriate under current conditions? Taxes are a combination of assessments and tax rates applied. As houses become more expensive, it doesn't mean those living there have more money to spend on taxes. As the assessments rise, the tax rates need to decline. I don't have a specific number in mind. And I've been asked during the campaign, what exactly am I going to do? Well, as I've said, I'm not a tax expert, but my education and my career and as working in law firms has taught me how to work with the right people. So I may not know the answers, but I will surely find the right person to help me out, to help the city so that we can find the perfect answers and do what needs to be done to work on our tax issue. See another question. Um, what areas of the budget would you cut? I do want to cut things from the city budget. Um, I want to identify essential city services, police, fire, road maintenance, and everything else is up for discussion. So guaranteed income pilot projects would be on my chopping. But another thing that I have been looking into is the time and money that we spend on changing over 40 street names. I can understand why the Democrat Party, which has ruled Alexandria for over 100 years, wants to erase its racist past. But we can save money by simply having a rededication ceremony for all the streets at once. I think the city cost estimates for the street name changes are too low and ignores the financial and other burdens imposed on the 10,000 residents and businesses on those streets. And another thing is that I also think that changing street names promotes driver and pedestrian confusion and could negatively impact roads and safety. Another question. Do I support and how will I prioritize building a new high school? Yes or no? Absolutely. My kids, one has been through the high school. I've worked at the high school. My son is currently at the high school. Our school is definitely overcrowded, and students have to walk through dangerous intersection to change campuses throughout the day now. And not only does it impact student safety, but it takes away from time spent on actual learning. So we need to definitely do something about this. I see I have 30 seconds left. Let's see, what's another question? Oh, what do you feel are the most important mistakes to learn from during the last council? My first encounter with council members was in May of 2023 at Fort Worth Park during a community called Meeting on Violence in Our Schools. We wanted to talk to each other and share stories and discuss possible solutions. When council members arrived, they tried to gaslight us and tell us not to worry about it, that the problem isn't really that bad. When we expressed frustration, Mayor Wilson asked, "Why did you invite us if you don't want us to talk?" And our answer was to listen. But they seem to have a problem with that concept. And
We're at
ever since
time.
then, okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry. Wait, yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, Ms. Ileana. Appreciate hearing from you. Next up, we'll hear from Mr. Roy Bird. Mr. Bird, if you're on, I did see you were on earlier. You can go ahead and come off mute. And just like Ms. Gunderson, go ahead and just introduce yourself if you'd like, and then address the questions that you would like to address that you think we want to hear from.
Yeah, before I start, I don't know why the camera isn't on here. I can't get the camera on.
Do you want me to have Mr. Butler go while we
Yeah,
work on
maybe
that?
I'll go off and come back on, see if
Okay, sounds good.
works. Sorry.
Nope, no worries. In that case, Mr. Mason Butler is joining us as well. Mr. Butler, go ahead.
Say, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, can hear and see.
All right, great. Hey, thanks everybody, and thanks for having us here. Also, a quick thanks for Art on the Avenue. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, in the same weekend that you all do Art on the Avenue, which was a phenomenal success. We do something called the St. James Art Festival, which has been wildly successful. So I moved here in 2004 from Kentucky, moved to Arlington, met my wife, who's a lifelong Alexandrian, and we married in 2013. I live here. I like to eat organic food, so I joined a community garden, and now I'm the manager. I care about our parks, so I'm a member of Founders Park Community Association. I lived in Sweden for a little while, and what's important to me is to be bilingual, also to teach people how to speak English, and that's why one of the reasons I'm a board member of the Campagna Center. I've also been a three-time Alexandria election official, and today I will tell you this: we have fair elections in Alexandria. I've also been on the scooter commission because I ride scooters, and I made two recommendations: A, to pave roads, and B, to have scooter banks. One of the things that got me involved in running for office was the Alexander Renew Project, which is right down the street from my house. Ran into Paul Smidberg when he was on council and said, "We're going to have a problem. We need to make sure people understand." So I started knocking on doors and telling them, "Hey, we're going to have loud noise." And I always thought bad news doesn't get better with time. So over the course of the past 2 or 3 years, citizens have come, or neighbors have come to me and said, "Hey, thanks for telling us this is what's going on." I left IBM to move here. I did a couple startups in my personal career. I've been working for 32 years now to help run a socioeconomically disadvantaged company where we dust people off, we train them and get work both commercially and in the federal government, where our motto is people before profits. I'm running because there are a number of different issues. I am a huge fan of affordable housing, but in diverse housing. But we need to make sure that we do things to help people with jobs so that they can go from rent to own. And that way that they can control their own destiny instead of having a landlord do that. I also want to fight developers so that they, instead of taking 60-40, 60 commercial or market rate and 40% at you, to moving it to 70-30, that's bad. We need to keep it the same. And that's something about Alexandria and the Alexandria way is we are a hugely diverse community, both economically and racially. And that's a beautiful thing. I think that's one of the reasons why we love this place so much. So I also am a huge fan, and Councilwoman Bagley has said this quite a few times about supporting our rental inspection program. I say that because I came from one of the most historic high schools in Louisville, Kentucky. I was the last graduating class. Developers came in and they ripped asbestos out. So I've had over a dozen of my classmates that have passed away over the past 30 years. And I think both you have to be able to live somewhere that's healthy and go to school somewhere that's healthy. So in terms of new schools and fixing our schools, I'm a big fan, and I agree with what Councilman Chapman has said about building up, and because we just don't have any space. I mean, economic sustainability means we need to have diverse revenue stream. Our goal should be 50%. And right now it's 80% is residential taxes, and it's too high and it's not sustainable. So in order to do that, we need to sell Alexandria, and we need more people that go out and sell Alexandria because we love it so much. I applaud Visit Alexandria. I know we had a banner year for tourism this year, and it needs to continue. But in order to fix our tax imbalance, we do need to go out and recruit companies to come here. In terms of development, I take more of a moderate approach, and it's a more thoughtful approach that says, hey, if you move a lot of people into Alexandria, that means that the infrastructure is going to, and our infrastructure is failing. So we need to fix it. We need to improve all of our stormwater flooding, as well as look at multimodal, especially Duke Street in Motion. And I noticed that in the press today that we're going forward with a plan for King Street at Bradley Shopping Center. The most important reason that I am running for city council was because I want to represent you. I've got 2 ears and 1 mouth and want to use them accordingly. Obviously, right now, it's not necessarily the case, but I plan to bring together a group of citizens that don't look like me or believe what I believe, because diversity of thought is very important. And I think diversity of thought and debate in integrating citizens into voting will only make Alexandria stronger. We do a lot of great things in Alexandria right now. Tourism, we're doing a great job with. We're doing a great job, but we always do better with affordable housing. The Dash Bus is awesome. I also think we should find a way to get more electric, shorter Dash buses, and I think we should paint them so that we show people what Alexandria is all about. And finally, a great thing that we're doing is the $5 million that we dedicated to mental health. There are some things that we need to improve. Fighting people in court is not a good idea. It doesn't help. Our tree canopy over the past 3 years has decreased, and I think we need to turn that in.
We're at
And we need to
time
do a better
there.
job of planning.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Mr. Butler. Appreciate that and appreciate your flexibility going second there. I do see that Mr. Burr was able to rejoin. Roy, do you want to go ahead and try your camera again, and we can see if that works? You're trying to speak with us. I see it's on mute still. We'll just give it a minute here and see if he's working on the technicals.
Okay, can you hear me? I went to a different computer to try to see if I could get the
Yes, I can hear you.
audio.
Yep.
I mean let me see if I get the camera back on here. What's going on here?
There we go.
Or am I up? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
We see you,
All
we
right.
hear you. You're good
Magic.
to go.
Okay, so what I'm going to try to do here, you've got the questions. I'm just going to address the overall topics and try to get through this as quickly as
That
possible.
sounds good.
Get to as many of the issues as possible. So, my experience as a Marine officer and business executive has been invaluable in my understanding of how to lead and manage large, complex organizations. So it also underscores the significance of teamwork, And it taught me the necessity of prioritizing people. So core ingrained me with a sense of duty and service and the importance of giving back. So I also, as the president of the Clover College Park Civic Association, had success in collaborating with residents and to enhance pedestrian safety, uh, uh, primarily for parents and students for Bishop Ireton and MacArthur Elementary. And then we also addressed commuter traffic issues, through the neighborhood. And we coordinated with Taylor Run Civic and Quaker Hill Homeowners Association and the Seminary Hill Civic Association. So through that, we were able to foster consensus, and it was all through compromise. And then I saw that again and was, participated in the Stream Restoration Stakeholders Advisory Group and the Taylor Run Consensus Building Group, both of which achieved consensus through compromise. So those are the skills that I intend to bring, and those are some of the things that I view as successes. If elected, I think right now, we face a crucial decision, and that is, will Alexandria maintain its historic charm, its diverse neighborhoods, or is it going to turn into just another generic, overdeveloped regional landscape? So, we need to lower taxes for residents probably also for businesses in terms of the commercial real estate costs. But we've got to ensure that development respects Alexandria's unique character and promotes affordable living options, I think, across all types of different housing mixes. We can't just be all affordable, just apartments. We need to have a way that people can migrate from apartments to condos to townhouses, and if they want, single family homes. I think it's also important that we improve schools. We're not going to get economic development if our schools continue to lag in the region. And then most importantly, I think uh, investment in public safety, infrastructure, and green spaces is vital to support whatever growth we're going to go through, so that we don't sacrifice quality of life as we grow. With respect to the schools and the school board and how I would interact to try to influence the board, I think we basically need to demand a better return for the taxpayers' investment. I mean, right now we're at a low 15th place in the DMV, and that's just not acceptable. I would press for real vigilance and against complacency and all the bureaucratic redundancies and waste and inefficiencies. And I would encourage the board to recommend using things like Lean Six Sigma, Agile thinking, big data analysis, change management to boost ACPS's operations and services and reduce waste, improve efficiency, and then just continually improving, promoting ongoing improvement. So I would also support allocating funds, maybe dedicated funds, to helping non-native speakers overcome language-related challenges. And I would insist that teachers play a more significant role in tackling these kinds of issues instead of administrators doing that. And I would like to see the board leverage as many of our educated professionals, that we have as residents. Uh, uh, and again, rather than faulting non-native speakers for our low regional ranking, we should seek innovative solutions to bring them up and to bring, because that's education. You don't throw the children under the bus, so to speak. With revenue and budgeting, again, I think it's essential to alleviate the strain on residents and small businesses caused by elevated property taxes, both residential and commercial properties. And I think we also have to prioritize, again, public safety, essential services, and infrastructure in our funding decisions, as they are central to livability and quality of life. And council members, I think, also have to exercise, oversight of public resources again. So those.
Boy, that we're at time now.
Okay, all right.
Thank
Lot
you.
to try to cover in that.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us, to all three of the candidates. Really appreciate you taking the time to be with us this evening. And a couple of our sister civic associations or fellow civic associations are hosting an all candidates forum next week, I believe it is. And I think we have pushed out information of that, or can also share that with the group. But watch for that for next week. It is an in-person council candidate forum. So yeah, we might see you again. Yeah.